welcome to the next episode of Meditation Moments, where my goal is to get you to find yourself and love what you find. So today we are going to be talking about breath patterns and where we breathe, and belly breath, diaphragmatic breath, chest breathing. We're going to kind of cover a little bit of the gamut on the location of the breath. So a few weeks ago, I talked a little bit in episode 1 about breathing in the chest versus breathing in the diaphragm. I'm going to give you a little refresher. So we have lungs, obviously, in our chest, and all they are is airbags. They don't have their own muscle system. It's the muscles around them that help them move. So what typically happens for most of us is we use the muscles up here, which are your intercostal muscles. They're kind of this little veiny, spider-webby collection of muscles around the lungs, and they're very small. So when we get stressed and they have to work harder, we get those chest pains. That's one reason. So let me just say I'm not a doctor. That's not necessarily why. That's not the reason for all of your chest pains. But that is one reason that the chest gets tight, I should say. It can feel tight. So this is because this is where our parasympathetic nervous system lives. That is our fight or flight response, which is our survival instinct, which was designed when we were made as humans billions of years ago for us to be able to survive in the wilds, being chased by lions and bisons and bears and whatever. So as humans have evolved, obviously the things that we have to run from for most of us are different, but the survival skill and the survival instinct and the physiological things that happen in our body are the same. So whether you're being chased by the bear or, you're in a state of trauma because of whatever, a death in the family or bad news or whatever, the response is the same. The body reacts the same. You've got the heart rate goes up, blood pressure increases, your pores open, your eyes dilate, and the heart starts to go and everything gets faster and tighter. So to counteract that, in your sympathetic nervous system, ideally, we want to learn how to breathe using our diaphragm. And the diaphragm is down here. It's this big, beautiful muscle, huge muscle. It's the biggest muscle that we have in our torso, and we don't train it. We don't even think we have it. We don't know we have it. We don't use it. And it's crazy because it is such a key part of our body. And just like any of you who go to the gym, we train our muscles, but we don't think about training internal muscles like this. So this muscle then will kick in the sympathetic nervous system, which is that counterbalance to react that survival mode. So the easiest way to start this process is to teach you belly breath. Now, belly breath is not ideal long-term because if you're trying to expand and breathe through this belly, it's going to impact your low back and give you a sore low back over time. Eventually, we're going to come up here. Not today, but this is just the start of the training so that you can start practicing this. So what I'd like you to do, actually, I want to start laying down first. So go ahead and get your space on the floor, whatever that is for you. If you're on a hard floor, at least try to find a blanket or a towel or something so you're not just right on the floor. We're not going to be here very long, but long enough. So just start basically in Shavasana, in corpse pose. And I just want you arms down by your side, feet are separated. We're just going to start by taking a couple of breaths and then letting them out through the mouth. Don't judge the breath. Don't worry about what it looks like. Just breathe in and let it go. Now I want you to notice where that breath goes. When you inhale, you're breathing most likely into your chest. Don't try to change it, just let it go where it naturally wants to go. One more time. Now I want you to take your right hand and place it on your heart and just breathe. See if you can make the hand rise and fall. And you'll feel sometimes that might be a little tight. especially because you're forcing it to go strictly into that space. As you do this, relax your eyes, your mouth, and your tongue. Maybe swallow if you need to. Inhale and release. Now keep that hand there. Next, I'm going to have you put your hand on the diaphragm. So it's basically just below the ribs and above the belly button. So we're going to go into a two-part breath. So you're going to inhale to the chest, then see if you can move it down to that second hand, to the diaphragm. Then exhale the chest and exhale the diaphragm. Inhale chest, diaphragm. Now try not to go down to the belly. This is hard. This is a much harder part than when we get to belly breathing, to be honest. Exhale down and release. So you're riding it like a wave. Let's do two more. Inhale chest, ribs. Exhale chest and ribs. Now keep the left hand where it is. Move the right hand on the belly, maybe below the belly button, or just on or below the belly button. Now inhale, ribs and belly. Exhale, chest, ribs and belly. Inhale, chest, ribs, belly. Exhale, chest, ribs, and belly. So just follow this pattern a couple more times. If you really want to focus on the belly, take both hands on the belly, below the belly button, and see if you can shift your focus to just breathing down towards the belly. So you're letting go of the thought of the chest and the diaphragm for this moment. Feel the hands, the fingertips go up and down. You don't need to be pressing. This is a good practice to do before bed, or if you wake up with insomnia, to try to help fall back to sleep. One more time. Release the hands. Go ahead, bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. And then roll onto one side and make your way back up to a seated position. If you need to sit in a chair, that's fine. If sitting on the floor is uncomfortable. Take your hands down towards the belly. Close your eyes. Just take one breath to prepare. Exhale it out. Now start to breathe into the belly. You might find it more difficult as you're seated, depending on your anatomy, but try to sit up nice and tall. Inhale, expand the belly. You will feel that this is a little bit labored if you're not used to doing it. And if it becomes too difficult, just stop and go back to your natural breath. And even the length that I'm doing this with you, I'm practiced. I'm a practitioner at this, so it might be too much if you're a first timer. One more time. Expand that belly. Fill it up like a balloon. And then watch it deflate. Go ahead and come back to your natural breath. Return your hands back to the knees or to the lap. And then breathe. If you need to just take a big deep breath into your chest, using those chest muscles, go ahead and do so. And then slowly start to open your eyes, inviting yourself back into the space. Wiggle your fingers. So what I really want you to do is just notice how you feel and how you felt. I remember when I started learning how to do this practice, and it was very difficult. I've had respiratory issues in the past. I've had bronchitis and asthma. So with those types of things, this may be far more difficult for you, but it's a very long process and a practice. As I always tell you, it's a practice. Everything that I'm teaching you here is a practice. It's not something to master. It's something to practice throughout your life, improve on, get better at, but it's a practice. So if you have any questions or comments, please comment below. I'd love to answer your questions or listen to your comments. If you have any suggestions for the future on something you'd like to learn, also place those in the comments below. Be sure, click the subscribe button, share this playlist with your friends. Thank you guys so much for your time and your energy. Let's place our hands on our hearts together today. The inner light in me bows down to greet the inner light in each one of you. God bless you, and namaste.